Hello everyone, welcome to my session. My name is Samuel Baruffi and I am a Principal Solutions Architect with AWS. On today's presentation, I'm going to be talking about Amazon Bedrock agents, and the goal of this presentation is to show you how really we have entered an agentic ecosystem and we have entered the agentic era. So actually, when we talk about agents, it can be confusing because that terminology can be quite overused and for different companies and can mean different things. So let's just set the level of understanding of what we're going to be, what we mean here on this presentation when we talk about agentic AI. At a very high level, AI agents are autonomous systems that can reason, plan, and complete multi-step tasks on behalf of humans. So how do they do that? Agents will break down high-level objectives into executable tasks. That's also known as planning. Once they have those tasks, they will try to accomplish those tasks using tools and informations. Informations can be knowledge, for example, from knowledge base that from your specific proprietary enterprise data sets. And those tools and knowledges are going to be made available to them. And that's what we call actions. More importantly, these systems are actually capable of observing the results and then updating the plan in real time until the defined goal set by the human is accomplished. And that's what we mean by reasoning. So I'll give you an example. Instead, if you have an example of trying to check availability of a meeting room, rather than just checking the availability of that meeting room, an AI agent can actually access your calendar, check everyone's availability that should be on that specific meeting. It can send the invite to that specific meeting. It can then monitor for responses on that specific meeting. And if some of the critical people actually respond with a no, it can follow up asking for potentially times that would work for them and do the work. So be a multi-step and driven autonomous solution. So why is now the era for AI agents, right? Multiple research organizations in the world, last year and this year, these two numbers I'm going to show here, are actually from Gartner, from trends that they expect to see in the next couple of years starting this year. So the first one is 33% of enterprise software applications will include some sort of an agentic AI by 2028, which is up from less than 1% in 2024. And then 15% of the day-to-day work decisions will be made autonomously through agentic AI by 2028. So you can see in about 3 years, a very significant chunk of the work is expected to be handled by AI agents. So it's very important that companies start to realizing the prospect and the opportunity that lie ahead. But there is a evolution of agents that have happened in the industry in the last year or so. As large language models became more and more intelligent and more powerful, it has unlocked different use cases. So in the beginning, you would have maybe a simple assistant, which you'll be able to ask basic queries and you get a response, and maybe it will be like using a single tool use. Maybe you were going to connect with your RAG system, with your knowledge base, and you use that, right? It would be a single step test. Then companies using the power of these large language models created deterministic agents, right? So it's a very strict procedure. Within AWS, we call those more like flows. So it'll be a flow of steps that are predetermined, and you just have a router asking. After that, a lot of companies like Amazon and AWS have enabled organizations to create autonomous agents. So you can actually have the planning aspect that I meant before, where it can go and understanding the objective and monitor for the outputs that the model is putting into a multi-step tasks. But there'll be a single agent in this case, which is, it might be expanding the tool set to multiple tools. Maybe you have a calculator, maybe you have a browser access, maybe you have web search access, Maybe you have some sort of proprietary API that you're connecting and enabling that agent to use, but it's just a single agent, right? Now, what has become more and more popular and what we believe is the future is these agentic virtual workers. Rather than just having a single agent that has the capability of running the planning and multi-step tasks, now you can have a combination of powerful experience and expert agents on specific areas that will work together to achieve a much higher level task. So you can think about long-running systems that you actually mimic human teams rather than just mimic human actions, and it can be cross-organization boundaries. And the more you see on this slide that you see on the right, the more autonomy and business impact we will actually provide. So with that said, how do we at AWS offer services and capabilities for our customers to innovate and really jump into this agentic new world? We have what we call the AWS Generative AI Stack, which is divided by 3 different layers. The first layer, which is the bottom one, is the infrastructure that AWS provides to build and train models. So we have Amazon SageMaker AI, which is this huge ecosystem for cleaning data, training your model, inferencing your model, and you actually be the whole managed infrastructure. But on top of that, we also have our own hardware or partners for GPU and AI acceleration like NVIDIA. And we have our own hardware called AWS Training and AWS Inference that provides the best price performance into the AWS cloud. The second level of our AWS Generative AI Stack is the ability for you to use models and tools. So you can think about building blocks to build your generative AI applications. And that's our very popular service, Amazon Bedrock. And we're going to be talking today in the next couple of slides, and the demo that I want to show you is going to be building on top of Bedrock. But our highest layer is more on the application to boost productivity. We have a suite of services called Amazon Q, and Amazon Q has different flavors. In this slide is presenting 2 of them, which is the Amazon Q Business, which is this assistant that can actually provide a chat interface, but also automate a lot of tasks and connecting to your very common applications like your Office 365, your Google Drive, your Salesforce, your Zoom, and it can put all that into a single pane of glass with a lot of the guardrails and security that enterprise requires. And on the other spectrum is Amazon Q Developer that provides developers the capability of using AI, powerful AI models to boost their productivity while developing applications. So that is the AWS Generative AI Stack that we offer at AWS at a very high level. What we're going to talk today is about Amazon Bedrock, very specifically Amazon Bedrock agents, because this presentation is for agents itself. But Bedrock is a suite of building blocks that allows you to build very quickly and with a lot of scale in mind and also security, your generative AI application. So we have a lot of tools here. Tools could be your knowledge base, which is the managed retrieval augmented generation system. You can have data automation that you can upload PDFs and you can extract all those PDFs with the location. You can fine tune your model. You can do model distillation. We're going to talk about agents. So agents will be a very important part of this capability that is native. But you also have developer experience. You have prompt management. You can create prompts. You can create variables within those prompts. You can store them on AWS. You have a whole suite of IDE capabilities for you to really experiment and do POCs and test different ideas through the IDE. You have prompt optimization that is pretty cool functionality on Bedrock. The core functionality on Bedrock is really making models, AI models, foundational models from Amazon and other third-party like Anthropic, AI21, Cohere, Mistral, Llama, and many more, managed for you in a fully serverless capability, right? So you don't need to spin any instance, you don't need to pay for any GPU, you just pay for the consumption that you have in input tokens, output tokens, and that is what you're going to be paying. You can also explore different models. You can maybe train a model from another outside Bedrock, and you can import that model to be hosted on Bedrock. You can use the Bedrock marketplace that actually expand the capability of models much further than just what is available via serverless on-demand capability. There is a whole suite of evaluation metrics, right? Applications are very powerful. AI applications are very powerful, but they're really important for you to run evaluations. So Amazon Bedrock also provides you with a suite of tooling and capabilities to do programmatic evaluation, a RAG evaluation, human in the loop evaluation, and just recently we announced the large language model as a judge, so you can have another judge. You can have another large language model judging the response from your AI application, and then you can collect those metrics and have dashboards and improve as you see those results. And then, of course, you can have inference at scale. You can have different flexibility of options on how you consume those models. You can have optimized inference by prompt caching. You can have intelligent prompt routing. So depending on the question that you are sending to Bedrock, Bedrock can automatically redirect to the right model that will be the best suited to answer and execute that specific task or question. And it's global reach. Amazon Bedrock's global reach. There are many regions on AWS cloud that have Bedrock enabled. And you can also have cross-region inference for a specific model, so you can actually utilize the capacity across different regions with a single endpoint. And that makes your life much easier, right? At a very high level and very quickly, that is what Bedrock is, and Bedrock just becoming bigger and providing you more flexibility and building blocks to build your generative AI applications with the whole experience that if you're already using AWS, you're familiar with. And it's very important to mention, it's secure and responsible, so you can use VPC private link, you can use encryption, no customer data to any model provider, including AWS or third party, are collected and stored. You can use guardrails, so you can set different restrictions for what your application might be able to respond and the things you don't want your application to respond. There is a lot of compliance regulation that Bedrock has passed and has the stamp, but also there is a lot of open source integration. You can integrate with LangChain, LangGraph, LlemmaIndex, TrueAI, and many more open source integration frameworks can tie into the vast service, which is Amazon Bedrock. But because we are talking about agents, AWS offers a broad choice for deploying agents. And here are just 3 examples, but these could be way bigger. If you want to run agents that are specialized, you can use the Q agents on the Q for Business or even Q Developer, and you can automate your enterprise productivity and workflow. We are not going to talk about those agents. And then on the right side, you can do it yourself. You can, for expert developers, potentially using open source frameworks, you can still build that on AWS, use our compute, use Bedrock models, use our serverless capabilities like Lambda, step functions, and automate and create your application. What we'll talk today, from the remaining of the session today, is using Amazon Bedrock agents, which are managed service that has all the scaling and capability and orchestration that will be foundational. The foundational model will power those agents, right? So this is our fully managed solution for building and deploy agents. What sets actually Amazon Bedrock agents apart is the built-in foundational model's powerful orchestration. So the orchestration and the flexibility on how we decide to build those agents are something that was taught from the ground up. This means you're not starting from scratch. You're leveraging sophisticated AI capabilities right out of the box that AWS has made it available for you. So if you don't have a large data science team or you're a small startup and you just want to start using agents and have the capability of orchestrating complex tasks at scale, Amazon Bedrock agents is a great fit. So you can think about Amazon Bedrock agents as like having a team of AI experts working alongside your developers that can handle complex orchestration while your team will actually focus on the unique aspects of your business logic. What this approach allows you to do is to dramatically reduces the time and expertise needed to get production-ready agents up and running. And that is the important thing, is we're not just talking about POCs anymore. We want to go to production and actually provide the value, both the economic and business value, that our organizations are expecting into this new era. And while the potential of agents are exciting, we keep hearing from customers that they face several challenges when they try to build production-ready agents. Developer teams struggles with complex technology stacks and infrastructure setup. This is a very fast-paced ecosystem, and new frameworks keep emerging. Maybe they are open source, maybe they are different partners, and that it becomes such a huge ask for the development team to keep adopting. The other area that is challenging is the operational complexity. Managing multiple agents and orchestrating complex workflows is challenging. How do you scale those? How do you actually provide the right sets of tools? How do you make sure entitlements and data are not actually being widely distributed when they should? Another one is, that I already mentioned, a couple of aspects, is agent ops requirements. What are the governance required for you to manage those agents? What are the security and compliance that your business will require you to have? And mostly important, which is one thing that when a lot of companies are doing POCs with the agents, they potentially fail to realize is, what is the observability step? How do you trace each step that this agentic system is doing? How do you log those? And how do you run evaluations to actually improve the capability and the performance of those agents, right? And rapidly evolving technology landscape makes it hard to stay current while maintaining production systems. So the important thing here with all these challenges is Amazon Bedrock agents, because it's a managed service, and AWS will take the heavy lifting away from you so you can focus on your business values and the outputs that you are expecting to do. It will make your life way easier. You still need to put a lot of work, but it will be easier than potentially building on your own. So before we talk about what different types of agents does Bedrock agents provide, how does an agentic system look? So you might have a user input. That user input might have be talking to an agent application, and you expect a response. But what happens behind the scenes is much more complex than just this flow that the user sees, right? The agent components that your agent application will potentially build, you're going to talk about the foundational models. So different tasks might be using different foundational models from different partners. Maybe you're going to use some of the Anthropic models. Maybe you're going to use some of the Amazon Nova models, right? But also, now that you have those foundational models, those models, because they were not trained within your proprietary enterprise data, needs access to your knowledge base using vector databases. So Amazon Bedrock also provides a managed RAG solution, which is known as knowledge base. On top of that, enterprises will want to make sure that the responses that are provided to potentially our external users or internal users, depending on the type of application you're building, have some safeguards in terms of the response and the outputs that you're trying to respond and receive. And guardrails allows you to do that. You can create a lot of the tooling within Bedrock as well. You can connect with your own APIs by building action groups within the Bedrock agents. You can have memory built in. You don't need to manage the memory of those agents. You can have memory being managed, stored, and maintained by Bedrock, and you can just provide the ID, and as conversations for specific users keep growing, you still can maintain that memory, which is very important because it's context from the user's requests, previous requests, and responses. You can connect to other agents, but you can also have deterministic flows, which are more like static steps that your agent can take. But all that, right? One of the things we see more and more in production is you want to make sure that you have a continuous evaluation framework, right? So as your agents are potentially being consumed in the world, once you go to production, you want to log the evaluation of those steps. And you want to make sure you have test cases that you keep evaluating once you make changes. You want to make sure you have metrics and grading prompts, and you can even use judges as foundational models that I mentioned. So you can log all that into an analytical database or a vector database. And then the last step is you can have this dashboard where your experts on whatever agent output or agent task is created, what is your business value, you can have those humans evaluation to analyze what's working well and what's not working well. And you can update and optimize to make sure your agents are actually getting better with time, right? So users will provide feedback and agent application get updated. And as they get updated, they'll get way better. But let's talk about what is Amazon Bedrock Agents. So Amazon Bedrock Agents provides you with a managed capability for actually managing and running agents at scale. So if we think about the different tasks that you and your development team would be required to run by creating agents, you probably will know that you need to provide some tool capabilities for your agents, right? Within Bedrock Agents, you have the ability to create tools with action groups, which can call potentially your own APIs. You can integrate with knowledge bases. You can actually have code interpreters. So your agents can generate code. They can run those codes in a sandbox environment that Bedrock provides to your agents. And the output of that code can then be consumed for potentially as a response to your user or later on collaboration with other agents. I already mentioned about memory. But one interesting thing that we are going to do a demo today is this idea of multi-agent collaboration for complex workflows. It's important to say that the last item, the comprehensive trace, debug, and observability is very important and critical for Bedrock. By default, using these capabilities of Bedrock agent, you get comprehensive trace and debugging logs and metrics that you can look and analyze each stage and each step that your agents are taking. And there is built-in guardrails for security and compliance control, which will provide a peace of mind for you and your enterprise as you're building new capabilities with AI. So think about Amazon Bedrock Agents as a powerful foundational model that becomes even stronger when combined with the full suite of Bedrock agent capabilities, from knowledge base to flows to guardrails, all working together to create a more capable, secure, and reliable agent application. I just want to apologize. I just want to drill down a little bit more on the new capability that we released late in 2024, which is the Amazon Bedrock Agents multi-agent collaboration. One of the most powerful capabilities is the multi-agent collaboration. Let me walk you through how this works. First, you can easily assemble agents and connect each of those specific agents with their own specific knowledge base. You can give access to specific tools, specific APIs. These agents on its own can plan, execute, and complex tasks together. Think of multi-agent collaboration as a team of specialists that are working in coordination. For example, one agent might handle data analysis while another manages customer communication, right? And they can all report into a specific supervisor that is planning and delegating different tasks and aggregating the results for these coordinator agents, right? Amazon Bedrock have built intent classification to help unify conversation across agents, ensuring that smooth handoffs and consistent user experience across agents are kept. As your need grows, you can scale those agentic experience efficiently because it has built-in observability that lets you monitor how each agent are performing and interacting with your user. And of course, all of these runs on Amazon Bedrock guardrails and AWS Enterprise Security and Privacy Control by default. So to summarize a little bit here, what Amazon Bedrock Agents allows you to do is to provide the Lego blocks, the building blocks, for you to create a powerful agentic AI solution for your own organization. I already talked about some of these configurations, some of these features I haven't mentioned, session handling, so you can have session, then you can have memory management. All of these are secure within the Amazon Bedrock ecosystem. So this becomes even stronger capability because the point I mentioned before that development teams can get very overwhelming with this very fast-paced environment of agentic solutions. With Amazon Bedrock Agents, you can expect more and more capabilities are going to be added in the future that will follow the same approach of managing that for you while you focus on your business need. I'll give an example of something that Amazon have been very invested and started releasing some of these capabilities, and hopefully you see more and more coming in the next few months and year, which is the Model Context Protocol. You probably have already heard about MCP, which stands for Model Context Protocol. MCP was created by Anthropic. It's an open source protocol that standardizes the way models share and understand context with each other and connect to external data sources such as tools, right? Making your application context aware of what tools are available for that. Currently, Amazon Bedrock Inline Agent, which is a way for you to create agents with code inline, already support MCP servers because you can build clients. The inline agent is an MCP client that can connect to MCP servers. So you can have your MCP servers as action groups in Amazon Bedrock agents, the same way you do when you're building a single agent or when potentially building a multi-agent collaboration. That allows you to enable connecting agents to external tools and data sources via MCP servers. You support passing information between models and tools in a multi-step workflow. You can expect more capabilities not only within the Bedrock Inline Agent, are going to potentially become more and more native to this offering on Amazon Bedrock. Now, before I do my demo, what I want to pause here for a few seconds is, if you have found so far that Amazon Bedrock Agents is interesting and you want to know more, please scan this QR code to potentially go to our Bedrock Agents page, or if you want to run a workshop and you're already an AWS customer, you can request a customized workshop where we, as part of the AWS team, will potentially virtually host a workshop for you for agents, or potentially your account team might fly or meet you in your office with your team and actually host this specific workshop where you're going to be able to create agents and play around with Amazon Bedrock. And of course, there are free courses that you can do on your own pace. Just scan the last QR code here. Now, I'll talk about my demo, but I just want to show a diagram of how my demo works, because what I'm going to show you in the demo is a web UI that is abstracting all these very powerful investment research and agent, which is actually using behind the scenes the multi-agent collaboration capability of Amazon Bedrock. So I have created 3 different agents that are collaborators from my supervisor agent, which is called Investment Research Assistant. The goal of this assistant is to help analysts, investors, to do research about specific investments, right? About the investment world. I first have one agent that is specialized on analyzing news. That specific agent is tasked with a different set of tools available for it. The first tool that is available is the ability to call an API to do web search. So if I ask about Amazon news, Amazon stock news, this agent will be invoked and will be actually calling web search APIs and retrieving information about a specific request. In this case that I said, Amazon news. The other tool that this agent has is the connection with proprietary financial data. In this case, for the demo, it's just Amazon earning reports, 10Qs and 10Ks that have been uploaded and prepared by Bedrock Data Automation. And what happened here, I have created the Amazon Bedrock knowledge base that ingests, embed, and creates vectors into my OpenSearch serverless index. And then my agent can actually query using natural language to actually retrieve specific chunks out of specific asks, for example, Amazon earning reports. So that is one agent. The second agent is quantitative analysis agent. What this agent does, it has an action group that has tools capability to actually call a Yahoo Finance API. So you can call different APIs to check different prices, different stocks, different date range, and that can be real time, and you return to the model, to the agent, apologize. Now, the last agent is the Smart Summarize agent. This agent is prompt and capable of summarizing a specific set of informations, potentially to give the response back to the main supervisor agent. The cool thing here is I've provided a specific guidance for each of those agents on how they should behave. But because Amazon Bedrock multi-agent collaboration has a lot of the orchestrating intelligence using years and decades of machine learning experience of Amazon, a lot of that intent classification is handled automatically for me. And everything that I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna show in the demo. I'll ask a prompt here to do something that can retrieve data, give a complex investment analysis, and you see that each step will be traced and it will be orchestrated by the supervisor agent, which is this agent that you see here, right? The investment research assistant. And as needed, you actually call these collaborator agents, right? And each step will be able to see the input and the output for those agents until we finally, once it's satisfied, because the planning and reasoning, once it's satisfied with the answer and the data that is collected, you get the response back to the user. So you can see that this is just more than just a simple agent, a simple chatbot, right? Even though this is a natural language conversation with a bot, behind the scenes, you're using the power of connecting different data sources, different actions that a foundational model on its own has no capability. And everything you're going to see on this demo, I send a single, after I've created all these agents, either by API, SDK, CloudFormation, or the console, I can just send a Evoke agent API, and I can use this capability. And because this is all managed on AWS, all the scaling, all the security, all the logging, all the evaluation is taken care for me by Amazon Bedrock. So this is really powerful. So what you're going to do now is we're going to jump into the web browser, and I'm going to show you the demo on how this agent works, and hopefully you're going to get excited and potentially start building some of these capabilities on your own as well. We'll see you in a moment. Okay, welcome back. Here is just a very simple UI, right? Behind the scenes, I have already created the agent, the multi-agent collaboration that I showed you. So here is me as the user. We are going to send a prompt through this very simple UI with the investment research assistant, which is a supervisor. And then I'm going to show you the traces based on my question, what type of the different agents he requests to collaborate with, how does he actually get the data back, how does he keep iterating until it gets to a final stage where it's satisfied and actually returns the response. So this is like it can take a minute or 2-3 minutes to actually get some of this response back, because it's doing a lot of different steps. It's taking a lot of different action given the planning that the supervisor agent that is part of a multi-agent collaboration on Amazon Bedrock is actually doing, right? So this is, again, it's an investment research assistant. The question I'm going to ask here is, given the recent Amazon 10K, what are some of the growth opportunities highlighted? Then I want you to search the news related to those opportunities, and I want you to list competitors for each of those areas. Finally, give me a stock price range expected within the next 12 months, right? I want to learn the growth opportunities. I want to see what the market's saying in terms of expected price range from different sources, and then search the current stock price and how much has fluctuated in the last 30 days, right? So in order for me to do this as part of a human, or if I was an analyst, it would take me quite a lot of time. As I send these requests, behind the scenes, it's actually invoking my agent. So the first thing it does here invokes the investment research assistant, which is a supervisor. And then we're going to see now multiple different steps. So the first step is the orchestration. And I'm going to try to not go through all of them because it'll be a lot, but I'm going to show some of them. So the first one is just, you can expand here and you can see you are an investment research assistant responsible for overseeing and synthesizing financial research for a specialized agent. Your role is to coordinate the sub-agents to produce. Anyway, it's a very fine-tuned prompt here for my supervisor agent. But what it does here is the supervisor agent will actually do the first reasoning. And the agent reasoning is saying, first, what I need to do is get growth opportunities from Amazon 10K. Then I need to find recent news about these opportunities. I need to identify the competitors from these opportunities. I need to get analyst price targets, and then I need to get the current stock data and recent volatility. What it has done is, okay, now that is the plan that I need to take, and I need to take multiple steps to get to that plan. So in step 4, what it realizes, okay, I need to request the collaborator agent, which is the financial news agent, to go and retrieve some data, right? So the first one is go fetch from the knowledge base, then if needed, fetch latest relevant news from a given stock base. So we would try to do the knowledge base. My knowledge base in this example only has Amazon annual reports like the 10K that you're talking here. So you can see here that the financial news, okay, I'll first search the knowledge base from growth opportunities. So he has hand off the task from the supervisor into the financial news agent. And you say, okay, I'll search the knowledge base for growth opportunities mentioned in Amazon recent 10K and related information. So he goes, queries the knowledge base on Amazon Bedrock knowledge base. He gets some of the chunks, right, using the vector database. Here he orchestrates the response back to my supervisor. So he orchestrates back my response to the supervisor. But now it's, okay, I need to get more data. So it's like he's saying, okay, let me now get the recent news about Amazon growth initiatives and competitors. So he collected the information and the growth opportunities that are listed on 10K, and now it's actually going and getting the growth initiatives and competitors from news, right? So you can see here, it's actually running. It's now finally doing something that is called the tool use, which is using the action group functionality on Amazon Bedrock, and is doing a search query using an API saying Amazon growth initiatives, AI cloud, retail, healthcare, competitive strategy plans, because that's what probably was listed on the 10K, right? He has returned some of those specific news, and now he's saying, let me search specific for analyst price targets and competitor information. So you can see that it's taking each step in order to obtain my final request, which was multiple tasks, multiple executions at the same time. So now he's saying, okay, get the news about the price target and competitor market share for cloud, retail, AI, and healthcare. So he has gotten to that. And based on the knowledge-based information in the news, I can now provide a comprehensive update on Amazon's growth opportunity-related development. So the financial news agent has now done, within itself, taken multiple steps to finally achieve the single goal that the supervisor agent requested, right? So you can see how this becomes very complex. Remember, the multi-agent collaboration here, the good analogy is have a team of specialists working together. And this is one of the specialists just taking a lot of the actions, right? So the final response from the final news agents, okay, key growth areas from the CEO, recent communication is AI, core focus is shopping, code, personal assistant. The growth opportunities will be major AI infrastructure, AI-infused Alexa voice assistant, healthcare service expansions showing positive customer sentiment. You can see some of the competitors here. And then you can see the analyst coverage, what are the price target that it has shared, that they have decided to put each of different kind of companies and research institutions. So it goes back to the supervisor and be like, okay, here's the data supervisor. What do I need to do? And the supervisor decides some information here, and we could drill down, but I don't want to take too much time, and says, okay, now I need to actually get another collaborator here, the quantitative analyst agent, to go and see, and you can see here, you try to, if you go here, the agent reasoning now for the quantitative analyst agent to be like, I'll retrieve Amazon stock data and analyze the recent price movements and patterns. So it goes and makes a stock data lookup API using the tool function to use on the action group. So it gets the data, right? And then it's, okay, I'll analyze the current price range and key patterns over the past month. It gets all the data. So it gets from current stock, the price for today, 30 days price lines volatility, and the current price level and trading partners. So it talks about some of the resistance and some more like the terminology, fundamental understanding of stock itself. It goes back to the agent, right? And the agent says, okay, let me synthesize this information into a comprehensive analysis of Amazon growth opportunities and market lookup. And then finally, if you see here on step 43, so this multi-agent collaboration has taken 43 different steps using different agents, using different tools, using different knowledge base to achieve the response. So you can see that based on my prompt says, here is the detailed analysis of Amazon growth initiatives and market outlook. So the key growth opportunities, one is artificial intelligence. Scale 1,000 generative AI applications in developments within Amazon. These are the focus areas. Here's the competitors. Now is cloud service. Current growth opportunity, current growth is 25 year over year. AI contribution 3 to 5% now, expected to be 10% this year. Remember, the 10K is from 2024. That's like 2025 is the expectation now. Infrastructure, data center expansion, some of the competitors. Third, growth opportunities, healthcare, talks about Amazon Pharmacy, One Medical integration, showing positive customer adoption. Then it goes to Project Kuiper, which is the satellite internet service for Amazon. Then it talks about different competitors. And finally, it goes into the current trading metrics. What is the price? What has been the 30-day range? What is the support level? What is the resistance level? And here is the analyst projection. So some of analyst projections are saying, okay, like Wolf Research saying it's 200. Notable, JP Morgan saying it's 210. And recent trading partners has been higher lows since April 24th, 5 consecutive days of gain. Heaviest rated trading was April 4 to 9. So it says the wide-ranging analyst targets $200 to $261 reflects varying opinions of AI initiatives execution success, AI, AWS growth sustainability, healthcare expansion potential, competitive pressure impact. So I know it was a lot and I was getting more into the response, but this is the answer for this specific prompt that I sent. And if you were just to prompt a model without having these tools, it would be way, way hard. Again, this only ran for 3 minutes, but how about if you have a very complex task that involves dozens of agents and you'll be running for hours, right? To do a very in-depth research. You could do that during your use case. And I just called a single API. This was just a single API call that I made. And that API call had all the infrastructure managed for me, all the foundational models, using the power of the AWS Generative AI Stack. So again, my name is Samuel Baruffi. If you are curious or want to talk to me, please reach out on LinkedIn. You could just search by my name is Samuel Baruffi. Hopefully this demo was useful. Thank you so much for taking the time and watching, and I hope you see you soon. Have a great one. Great one, everyone. Bye-bye.